Welcome to another episode of Random Ish with Sanja. What's crack-a-lackin'? How you doing? How you doing? Hey, I got my energy again. Yay! So I've started a new gig, in case you did not know. I'm back on full-time radio, 102.5 in Hartford, Connecticut, launched a couple weeks back. And I am loving the music that is on the station. It has taken me back. I love it. It's R&B and throwbacks. Steve Harvey's doing the morning show. I am doing middays. And then we've got Keith Sweat in the evenings with the Sweat Hotel. It's super dope. I'm loving it. But it is 100% taking up way more time than I thought it would. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. It's only going to take you a few minutes. And I was like, there's no way it's going to take me. Yeah, anyway. Oh, I probably should have said that, right? Okay, I'll be going live soon, but yeah, I got to get used to it first and see how much of time I could commit, okay? Anyways, moving on, because see, things like this, I barely had time to get that other episode up. It took me forever just to get the editing done and there was like no editing to do. I was just sleepy. I couldn't pull it together for nothing in the world. But there has been some interesting things happening in the past couple of weeks. So therefore, I had to pull it together and get this second episode out before the end of April. 2 a month. That's the goal. That's the intention. That's what we stick it to. But anyway, sister needed some time. So thank you. I appreciate you. There's like 92 other episodes. So there's plenty of other random-ish moments for you to hang out with me. And we'll talk about everything, all the good stories I got coming up for you in 2 and 2. It's only going to be 2 seconds. Okay, so I told you it was going to be 2 and 2, 2 quick little seconds. All right, so today I got for you a couple of interesting stories that I came across. The nerd in me. This information is literally going to change the world at some point in time. Maybe not right now, but it's going to. Something that I saw a couple weeks back that I wanted to talk about, but now I'm finding myself more in alignment and ready to conversate about that. The cheating respectfully and monogamy. And then, of course, I had a conversation about monogamy and women's actual status versus the status that we quote unquote have right now. So I definitely want to talk about that and the random question. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so a story that I saw that was super cute. I am a fan of The Nanny. I have always loved that show. It's so funny. My daughter sent me a text message the other day of her watching The Nanny and saying how just every time she hears the theme song, she gets an instant serotonin boost and she's like, feels all comforted and at home. Well, apparently a real situation for The Nanny just happened. So how cute is that? It's another New Yorker. It's in Long Island. The New York Post just reported that. Like, gosh, shout that part out, right? The story is cute. So you have the divorced dad who's looking for the nanny. This chick comes to his house. He ends up hiring her and finds out, oh my God, she is not the domestic queen. Got to get rid of her. But instead of just firing her, he actually spoke to his daughter. She cried, no, don't get rid of her. I love her. Right? Just like the Maggie character on The Nanny. And they ended up keeping her on. 3 years later, unlike The Nanny, they got married. So I thought that was a really cute story. I will say this, though. She ain't dumb. For any other secretary or for anything else that he needs to be hired, she does the hiring. So yeah, she was like, we're not finna have a repeat of this one. We see how you get down. So it's a cute story, but at the same time, it is kind of like, yeah, girl, you better watch out there. You better hire everybody, and they all better be older and well, actually, let me not say that because I'm older too. And you can't even say that they need to be fuego or fugly. Is that not fuego, because fuego is hot. Super sorry. You can't even say that you're gonna hire fugly people, because I done heard about fugly people, and fugly people be getting down. So you know. This whole show is just going to be I'm just warning you now. The subjects that we'll be talking about today, the whole thing is just girl. All right, speaking of girl, let me move on. Chris Rock. Yes, okay, so we all know about that situation. All right, so he said he's not going to talk about it until he's getting paid. He started a tour, Death of the Ego, something like that. And the mention that he gave to it is that when he walked out, he was like, it's all right. I'm healing from the cuts and bruises. And then kind of like left it at that. He has let everybody know his family is definitely being way more vocal about it than he is. But he did say, I'm not going to talk about it until I'm getting paid. Now, I'm bringing this up because I need to know. Ray J, Ray J is doing too damn much. I can't. Okay, but anyway, Ray J is hollering and screaming that he got investors that have got $50 million on a fight between him and Will Smith. So I'm just kind of curious, because I feel like Chris Rock keeps leaving it open-ended as if there's something more that's going to be coming, right? So could this possibly be it? A $50 million payday? Instead of it being a ring, they should have them do stand-up against each other. You know what I mean? Has Will even done stand-up? I bet you he could be pretty funny, right? Like if they did like a stand-up battle against each other, that would be dope. I think that would be kind of cool instead of having them like actually in a ring trying to fight. Because I don't think anybody wants to see it. I can't imagine that fight would actually be good to watch. It would be sad. You know what I'm saying? We don't. And I don't mean because, I just mean because who wants to see two older brothers fighting? Like there's just so many political issues with that, like two big names. There's just too many issues. It would be sad. We can't see that. So Ray J gone somewhere with that idea. And, Chris Rock, we'll see what happens, what he's talking about as far as getting paid for him to talk about it. Getting paid to talk about something. Hey, so there is something in the Financial Times. They are actually talking about manifesting. Manifesting is becoming a serious subject for a lot of people. We will be talking about all of that kind of good stuff a little bit later. So I just wanted to talk about the manifesting real quick because I'm going to relate this next story to manifesting a little bit. Okay? So I'm sure there's quite a lot of people who believe in manifesting who also believe in UFOs, right? Because at this point in time, we kind of all believe in UFOs. We believe in UFOs so much that they changed the name. I forgot what it's called now. It's like unidentified flying aerial thing or aerial thing, something, UFA or something. Unidentified flying aerial object, something like that. It's like not UFO anymore. Anyways, so I came across this article that I was like, wow. I was going to use it for the nerd in me, but I kind of feel like I need to be able to delve into it just a little bit. So let's just chop it up right now. Okay, so you just saw it. The Pentagon has released about 1,500 pages of information about UFOs. Now, again, is this happening because they're no longer called UFOs? I mean, we changed the name, so now we're willing to admit that some of these things are out there. Now, I just want to preference before we get into this story, because just because they have documents and it's not, some of these documents are like actual documents and pictures of things flying around in ways that makes you go, and then some of them are just recounts from people. And so I do want to, before we get into this, say that just because somebody said that this is what happened and that this is what they experienced does not necessarily make it true. However, in some of these papers, some of these reports, like there's evidence. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so let's get into this, right? So the Pentagon, there is the Freedom of Information Act, the FOIA, that has caused these papers to be released. April 5th of this year is when they got released. So this is kind of new information, unless you already know. Unless you're already deep into the UFOs, then You've already seen it, I think, probably on Guy or something like that. Okay. Anyways, so what happened was the advanced aerospace, because I got to make sure I'm saying this correctly because this is like legit-ish, okay? So the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, AATIP for short, had a secretive program that ran from 2007 to 2012. All right. And now it was never actually classified as like top secret or anything like that. But most people never heard of this program. This was an actual program run by our government. Okay. So here's the dealio. In 2017, the top dude stepped down. Yeah. Okay. And so that's the reason why it's been in the news, because he stepped down from this program and started to release some of the footage that they found and was like, yo, the government is not telling us there's freaking aliens or unidentified whatever objects you want to call it. So the program has begun. Now, we've talked about the fact that they do have the program, a totally different program, and probably don't actually know the name of it because there's several of them that they've got going on. But these reports are saying that people have experienced some not pleasant things from their encounters with extraterrestrial vehicles. Okay. So some of these are, there's been burns, radiation burns. There's been memory wiping. There have been an unexplained pregnancy. Like, this is super deep, super just like, wait, what? And all of this information, because of course I'm not going to sit here and tell you all about it, but you can go to The Sun and go look at some of this information yourself. Because like I said, it's all been released. It's been declassified because of the FOIA. So have at it, my friends. I mean, I think that we all believe that there's obviously got to be some other type of living objects somewhere in this galaxy, or maybe we are just a hologram of somebody else's dream and we're AI and, you know, da-da-da-da-da and all of that good stuff. But if logic works the way it's supposed to, right, and we see life here on Earth, then that makes us conclude that there must be some other planet somewhere that is going to have life like Earth does. So, yeah, and according to these reports, there's obviously life going on somewhere. The new 102.5 Hartford's R&B station. Good morning to you. Oh, the sunshine. It's so beautiful. Yes, I'm so looking forward to the weekend. It's Sandra Denise hanging out with you. The Clothesline, Coin Up Laundry. Welcome back to Random-ish with Sandra. So I told you we got a very interesting show for you today. Lots of stuff going on out there in the galaxy that we all need to be aware of. And this next story is something that, well, okay, so I had a conversation about like 2 weeks ago that was out of the blue and made me say, let me Google some of this information real quick. And it left me a little perplexed. Not to mention my own personal experiences in life lead me to have sometimes out of the box thinking on relationships. And I'm also very willing to admit that I have trauma. Some of it's healed, some of it's not. So some of the things I say might be exposing the fact that, bitch, you ain't healed yet. You know what I'm saying? So I am not saying that the discussion we're about to have is like 100% and that you should just listen to everything I say and that this is the way it is. Like I do want to say that before we get into it, okay? So this is what happened. we had a conversation about monogamy and how monogamy is something that was just brought upon us in a way of exerting control and to turn love into a corporation. And I was kind of like, well, okay, I could kind of agree with some of that because I do think that people do. It is entering, first of all, we are already corporations when we're born into this piece. And that with a marriage, it's a union of two corporations deciding that they're going to do business together. And I can kind of agree with that, right? Because like back in the day, it would be that, you know, what the guy, if he wanted to marry you, he like had to come bring your dad some cows and, you know, something to trade you so that this next man could take care of you and that you would then produce heirs for his family. Even when you say things like that, it just sounds crazy as I don't even know what, right? Anyways, okay, so what has happened, we moved out of those days and we are now calling ourselves being in relationships by choice. Or are we? I don't know if some of those relationships are happening because, oh my God, as I saw one man put it, that as soon as a woman gets married, she's now wealthy because she can now bank on her husband's money. I just like, oh, that is such archaic thinking. I freaking can't with you. Red flag on the play. Oh my gosh. So anyways, with all of that being said, what I would like to conversate about is this cheating respectfully that I saw. Okay, so we had the conversation about monogamy. And I mean, I've talked about my stance on relationships several times on this podcast. It's the whole reason why we have the podcast, so I can be open about how I be feeling about certain situations. And honestly, I have kind of always felt that I believe that monogamy is 100% possible. Anybody could do it. I think that it's a choice that you make. But I do kind of feel like society and some of us have made it impossible, you know what I mean, for us to really think that that's what everybody is doing. Okay, so I don't want to generalize and say that everybody is cheating, but a lot of people are cheating. Okay, so there was this study that was done where 120 undergraduate students were asked questions, and it's all male. They are gay and straight, and they were asked whether or not they were monogamous, and they were asked about whether or not they were in love. And 78% have cheated on the person that they're with, even though they say that they love them and they have no intention on leaving that person. They have an emotional monogamous relationship with them, but that their body sometimes does other things. Now, one of the reasons why this subject intrigues me so much is because I DJ at a strip club, okay? And although I see nothing wrong with being an exotic dancer, I think it's an art form. I think it's beautiful. I think that men and women both can enjoy it. There's the what I think about it, and then like there's like the seedy truth. You know what I'm saying? Like it's great for those single guys who can't get none. It's great for, you know, guys in relationships who can't get none. And then there's some guys who think that that's what women are supposed to look like, that this is how women are supposed to act, and they are addicted to porn. They think that that's how sex is supposed to be, and they're like, you know, there's like a disconnect, you know. So for me, I'm always, maybe not always, but I sometimes wonder, you know, if being a female DJ at the club, and then especially if I like DJ'd a wedding the night before and then I'm at the club the next night, sometimes like I'm like, you know, well, I just hope that if they get married that he tells his woman that he goes to the strip club, right? You know what I'm saying? I think that most women would be just fine with that if you actually tell your woman that this is what you're doing. And I think that women now, especially because of the way that we've changed things, we have respect for one another and we expect you to spend some kind of money, but don't spend your whole damn paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Don't be like that guy that I reported last year who gave up all the money and then gave her a computer and then turned around and sued the stripper. Like, don't do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing wrong with going to the club. With that being said, that sometimes makes me wonder about the cheating and does your wife know she's there? Okay, so this is what I have. This is the other reason why. Let me tell you the truth. So this is another reason why I'm bringing this up, because what was it? I think it was last week or week before, something like that. There was a gentleman who got a little too late at the club, and we weren't going to let him drive home. We wanted him to take a taxi. And he was so, like, he was just adamant about that he could not leave his car at the club. And he was like, no, I'm fine. You know, there's the usual, no, I'm fine, I got this. No. This guy was like, no, I can't do that. I gotta drive home. And so as we're all leaving and like he's getting stepped on the steps, I'm telling them, I'm like, listen, he doesn't want his wife to be like, where the hell is your car at? Okay? That's what's going on. So that's the truth. Okay? So what happened is I asked last time I was there, I was like, oh, what happened to that guy? Did he take the taxi home, or did he end up driving? And they were like, you already know what happened, Sandra. He waited around for like half an hour, and he was super adamant, and he ended up driving his car home. You know, he got a little bit more sober or whatever, and he ended up driving home. And I was just laughing my ass off about that, because I was like, and I told him, I was like, listen, that is a man who has not been honest with his wife. He is not telling his wife that he's going to the strip club. He's probably like, stopping at an ATM type-ish, you know what I'm saying, before he comes in. And I feel like now those type of relationships, that's gotta suck. That's gotta suck. Why you know what I mean? He's got to feel like he's lying and stuff, And so I think this is actually needs it needs its own freaking show, because I'm not saying that women are supposed to expect that your man is cheating. Oh, hell to the no. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I do think that cheating has become too much of the norm. I do think that more guys are doing stuff that probably their wives or girlfriends wouldn't approve of. But I also think that women's points of views are changing very drastically, and that there's a lot of things that we are no longer considering cheating, right? Because I know some women, if you look at another woman, you know what I'm saying? Well, now there's social media, so like, what the hell are you gonna do about that? There's TNA everywhere, so looking ain't doing nothing. Touching, the guys who have their face. Let me stop. Anyways, so I do kind of feel like it is up to us, and that's part of the conversation that I had that started this whole thing, is that, number one, women are obviously smarter, obviously more social. We just have a deeper understanding with life. And so it seems kind of messed up that we have to take the brunt of this. But I think that if women were to unite a little bit more, that we could kind of nip this thing in the bud just a little bit, right? Because they can't do it without us. I mean, unless, of course, they're, swinging that way, then they don't need us at all. But the interesting thing that the study pointed out is that men actually want to be in emotionally stable relationships, but that their bodies sometimes feel like that they need to do other things. My question is, because I don't feel like there will be any honest studies where women are concerned until society shifts thinking on sexuality a little bit, because I feel like women will always say, oh no, we don't cheat. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, of course the jokes are in the culture. We know that women do just as much. We are a lot more sneaky, you know what I'm saying, than fellas are, but I feel like women aren't allowed to be seen as cheaters, if that makes any sense. I feel like instead of women being seen as gold diggers, now it's women are being seen as smart. Women are being seen as, you know, looking to mate with the man on her level. So I do feel like things are changing and things are shifting. And the comment that I heard from a woman about cheating respectfully last year definitely got the balls turning in my head about whether or not relationships are going to go by the wayside or not. Are relationships and marriages and things like that going to continue to go, or are we starting to see a new trend of the fuck buddy turning into the fuck partner? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my goodness gracious me. Oh my. This conversation is super freaking deep. And we could just go on and on and on and on and on about this thing. But I got to get to the nerd in me, because this story that I just saw is going to, when they get it together, it is going to change the game. Hey, dun, 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 nerd in me. Okay, so this piece of information, bum, bum, bum. If this was a soap opera, there would be about 3 or 4 families fighting over this information. And if this was like The Young and the Restless, Victor would be all over it. Okay, have you heard and seen the pictures? They have been able to turn skin cells back 30 years. Guys, no. All right, let me tell you. Let me show you the picture. Yes. Okay, guys, it's happening. Okay, so let me just preface this first. They cannot actually take this to trials yet because the changes that they are doing with the cells, they are afraid that it is going to put you at more risk for cancer. So until they figure out how to balance that part out, it will not be coming out or anything like that yet. I'm just telling you this because it is like, and in my opinion, related to manifesting. All right, okay. So you saw the picture right there. So basically what's going on is they took 53-year-old cells, okay, and they put it through a process because we want to, this is a Nobel Prize winner, so I want to make sure that I'm saying his name correctly. They took a process called IPS developed by Shinya Yamanaka, and he is a researcher at Koto University in Japan. All right. Okay. So basically what he did is he was able to take some cells and turn them into stem cells by exposing them to some molecules, right? And then what these guys did at this institute is they built on his work and exposed these cells for less time. And the result was the skin cells acted like they were 30 years younger. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Super cool. Now, how and why am I relating that to manifesting? Because when they broke down the process of it, what they were describing is that the cells lost their identity. And when they lost their identity, they were then able to regenerate, neuroplasticity, and then take on the new information and then start acting so on and so forth 30 years younger. So my whole thing is with this is I was like, that is dope. Okay. Now, of course, they just, like I said, that they cannot put it out and they can't take it to trials yet because of the risk of the cells being manipulated like that. It could cause cancer. In my opinion, I think that this is something that we could probably do on our own with our thinking and with our brainwaves. And if we have the proper, if you have the proper training on getting in touch with your intuition and being in contact and in touch with source energy or dark matter, however you want to put that. The reason why I say that equate this with manifesting is because when you are trying to manifest something, when you're wanting to manifest something, you're wanting to, number one, realize that it's already done. Number two, you're wanting to take on a new identity, especially when you're using manifesting for like changing your life or for getting a new job or for any and everything. Okay. What happens is that you've got to leave that old identity behind and you've got to take on the new identity. And as you take on that new identity, and in your mind, as you hold that thought, and then the brain starts firing, and then, you know, your genies of the universe causes coincidences to happen, and you're following the impulses, and you're being in the right time at the right place, and this quote unquote new life is being revealed to you. It was already there. So in my opinion, it's the same thing. I think we probably can do that a little bit with our own selves, if we can get our minds to be younger. Not for nothing, I talk about it all the time. I feel like our generation, and perhaps the generation right before mine, is that we are already changing things. We don't look the same as the generations before. We are looking younger, and especially I feel like my generation, some of us look younger than the 20-year-olds who are out right now. So I think that we're on to something, you know, and I think that even with our own mental powers, this might be something that we're able to do. So therefore, we don't have to have the risk of having some tool come in and manipulate ourselves in order to get them to act some kind of way, and then causing, you know, side effects that we don't necessarily want. So again, they done did it, y'all. They done did it, y'all. They done used the science technology to turn back skin cells 30-something years. And I mean, actually did it. And in my opinion, it is just a big old, hey, girl, you could do it too. Use your mind. Oh, oh, oh. Well, I'm totally running over on my time, but that's what happens sometimes. I got a little carried away with my cheating respectfully conversation, just because, you know. Oh man, I'm just saying. As soon as society lets both male and female express their sexuality openly, and we are on the way to that. We are 100% on the way to that. However, society loves it when perfect bodied women express themselves sexuality. Not necessarily women that they don't deem as attractive. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as we get to the point where everybody is allowed to express themselves, I think that, oh man, we about to take it to a whole nother level. And yes, I just find it, I also find it funny that these are some of the things that we've been asking for. We've been asking for the freedom to express. So don't be shocked when things are not expressed the way that you think they should be expressed, okay? Allow everybody their freedom of expression, even if you don't agree with it. And there's a lot of discussion that's happening right now that people are not agreeing with. So that's a whole nother show. We ain't gonna get into that right now. Right now it's time for the random question! Okay, hopefully it's not. Oh, okay. Well, this is gonna be an easy one to say. This is gonna be a no. Okay, so today's random question. Boom, boom, boom. Would I have 20 kids? That's going to be a nope. And I want to give a shout out real quick because this isn't related to this guy who was asking me to be on the podcast because his parents had 21 kids and he was number 19 and he was the only one to graduate from college. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. 21 children. Lord, your parents was busy. Yeah. And yeah. And I was just like, and that would probably be the end of that conversation. So that's why we haven't had him on yet. But you did inspire me with a random question. So I can't. Yeah, today is today. It is what it is. Oh my God. Let me get my ass out of here. April has been a blessing of a month. It's been super, super dope. I am very, very, very happy. 7 days a week we are on right now. Monday through Friday, 102.5. You can listen to it online, hartford's1025.com. 96.7 The Buzz on the weekends, The Buzz 967. And of course, thank you so much for watching. And putting up with my happy ass. And today, yeah, whatever. It's all good. Wow.